Hey guys, this is going to be a brief review on the Fuji X10. This is a new camera put out by Fuji within just the last month or two. It's an awesome camera. It's a considered sort of like a compact, but sort of like a luxury compact camera in that the sensor size is a smaller sensor. It's a 2/3 inch XMR or EXR CMOS sensor, so it's going to be smaller than your Micro Four Thirds and even the new Nikon 1 cameras that have a 1-inch sensor, and definitely smaller than your APS-C and larger sensors. But in terms of compact camera sensors, this, I believe, is the don't quote me on this, but I believe this is the largest sensored compact camera, at least in the compact camera class. I believe this is the largest sensor of any of the other cameras. It's a 12 megapixel resolution with a 2.8 inch LCD. I'm just running through some of the specifications real quick. It's got a manual zoom lens, which is pretty interesting for a compact camera. Kind of combines some DSLR function with a compact camera. It goes from 28 millimeters to 110 millimeters, or 112 millimeters, sorry. It's just like it's a 4x zoom in compact, or in compact equivalent. The body is really high quality magnesium alloy, upper and bottom, and then with this faux leather wrap in the middle. This camera is extremely well built, extremely quality made. The materials are just superb, top notch. The dials are real stiff, and they're not going to move when you don't want them to. They have a nice click to them. Just great quality altogether. It will take 1080p HD video, as well as some lower quality options. You can take some slow motion video as well. It does RAW shooting, and it even has some in-camera processing, which it can do actually some pretty complex processing in camera, which is pretty neat. If you wanted to mess around with some of your pictures before you even export them to your computer, you can do that right in the camera. It's got some manual shooting modes. You have your PSA&M, and you also have, it's pretty neat, I haven't really gotten into these that much yet, but you have your two custom modes, C1 and C2, where these modes are totally customizable. You can do whatever you want, and for each mode you can have different settings, different priorities, different everything, and just totally customize those two options. Here you have your movie mode, you have your special mode, which would be like your scene modes and your scene selection modes. You have advanced, which gives you a couple neat options like pro focus, which is going to give you a nice depth of field. You have a soft focus. Then you have a 360 panorama mode, which is pretty cool. It takes some pretty good panoramas. Then you also have your auto mode right there. And then the mode that I use the most is actually this XM or EXR mode, which is a really neat mode, because what it does is it allows the camera to pick everything it thinks it needs, and it'll actually shoot in 3 different modes. It'll shoot in a high quality mode, where it will shoot in 12 megapixel resolution, but it'll use the dual core processor to actually kind of make the image quality even better than it would be, taken in any of the other modes. I don't know how it does it, but it just does, and it works superbly. It also has a high dynamic range mode, where if you're taking a picture, say of a sunset, where you have a great variation in brightness and exposures, it'll use the processor to sort of make a real gradual transition so you can keep your shadows, keep your highlights, and I find that it actually works very well. It also has a noise reduction mode for low light, which works also very well. Now the two modes that I just mentioned, the dynamic range and the low light, because it's so processor intensive, it actually doesn't shoot in the full resolution. It shoots in 6 megapixels. But as other people have said, you know, I didn't see how it was possible, but it actually is. You cannot tell the difference. You know, when you're going back through your pictures and you're looking at them, they all look great. You can't tell which ones were taken 12 megapixel. You can't tell which ones were taken 6 megapixel. They all just kind of blend together. They all look, you know, incredibly well. And it's just a great quality camera. It's better than any camera I've ever had, and that even includes my X10 that I'm shooting this video with. It's just out of the box. You know, this EXR function just shoots incredibly nice pictures, and in combination with this, in conjunction with this lens, this real nice Fuji spherical lens that has a aperture range of f2 to f2.8. So all the way through the spectrum, you're going to start off with once you unlock the lens and turn it on, you're going to start off with 28 millimeter. This is going to be f2 depending on your light, your brightness, and then the smallest aperture you'll get is f2.8. So no matter what your zoom range is, your focal length, you're going to have a real nice fast lens, and that's always awesome when you're working with low light conditions and you just want to do some real nice depth of field, which just really, you know, takes care of really well. Alright, so now let's take a quick look at the rear of the camera. You can see here on the left we have a flash switch, which is going to pop up the flash. We have your playback button, which will obviously bring you to your pictures so you can check them out. You have your auto exposure button that also doubles when you're in the playback mode as a zoom. And then you also have below that a autofocus button, which doubles as a zoom to back out of the image. You have a white balance button here on the bottom. You have your viewfinder. This is a optical viewfinder. There's no digital overlay like there is in the X100. There's no digital anything. It's purely optical, and I don't know if you can see that. It's just a piece of glass. I mean, it's not. You can actually see there. You can see the lens, and you can see the lens from about 28 to almost 50 till you get zoomed in. You can see the lens through the viewfinder, which is no big deal. Also, I found that the viewfinder image that you see and the image that the camera actually captures is going to be a little bit different just because of the positioning of the viewfinder. So it's not 100% viewfinder. You're not going to see exactly what you're going to take, but it's not bad. It's not bad for just kind of using, you know, the retro technique of using the optical viewfinder. So that's nice if that's desired. Also, here we have a hot shoe that's going to allow you to use any Fuji products, you know, that require a hot shoe or cold shoe attachment, such as a flash, and you have your made in Japan right there. And moving over to the right, you have this dial. Now this is a multi-purpose dial. It also has a click, you know, it's a button. This will do different things depending on what function you're doing. You have your auto exposure lock, autofocus lock here.